Hello. So today we wanted to recap our Refocus and Reset Challenge. It was amazing. It was
So good.
5 days of just eye-opening. The doctors seemed to get so much from what we went through. The workbook was like 80 pages long. We really wanted to do a deep dive into how people are running their practices so that we could get them to run it more efficiently, easier, expanding reach, getting access to everybody who needs it. And that was really our goal of the Refocus and Reset Challenge. And I think that we delivered on it.
It's really awesome that, we keep coming back to that goal, right? The idea is to expand access to care to everyone who needs it, regardless of circumstances, regardless of where they live, how much money they have, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't matter. If they need care, they should be getting it. And that's what the Refocus and Reset Challenge was all about, because practices are trying. We want to.
Exactly. So what our goal is to work with the best of the best as far as clinicians are concerned. We want the best clinical minds to be able to get out there to everybody so that people are getting really great quality therapy. And that's what we did. So for day one, we really focused on how your dream job turned into kind of like a nightmare.
A job, at least.
Exactly. So, we went into these practices because we saw a need. We saw that there was something that only we could fulfill. We wanted to provide more access. We wanted to provide care at the level that we wanted to provide the care. We really had big dreams for what our practice was going to do. And at first it did.
Mm-hmm.
At first it might have just been you and one other person, and you guys were kind of like figuring it out and everything was cool. But now you have this bigger practice because all these patients are coming to you because you're amazing and you're feeling like a bottleneck. You're feeling like things are not going the way that you'd want them to. And we don't really know why. And so that's why we had day one where people really diagnosed what's going on in their practice. They were looking at numbers that they oftentimes never saw before. We are thinking like graduation rates, discontinued rates. We want to know how many active patients do you have in therapy? And some doctors don't know these things because what they know is I come in and I see patients and I need staff to see the patients and I'm tired at the end of the day.
I'm seeing all these
out.
patients and there's not enough money to reflect that I'm seeing all these patients and I'm doing all this work.
Exactly. I'm working all the time. Don't know why. So we even had our doctors do a time capacity audit. And so we really had them break down how many hours each week they're spending on each particular task in the practice. And so how much are they spending on patient care? How much is admin? How much is outreach and referral management? How much are just like questions that come to you?
Yeah.
Numerous times a day.
Patient questions, staff questions.
All the questions.
All the questions.
And most of our doctors reported that they're working over 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
So no wonder they're tired. No wonder. And I think that there was like surprise, but like not really surprised, like almost like a relief. Like, oh, okay, this is why I feel the way that I do.
It's nice to see it in black and white. There is a reason.
Not nice, maybe.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable to see it in black and white. But it's necessary because this is not like a blame thing. This is just how the system that you created at first is now holding all of the weight of the practice that you built. And it's not strong enough. And that's what day one was. So then we went to day two. And day two is where we see, okay, so the system's not really working. Is there a system or is there not really a system? And then we realized, oh, the doctor's the system.
What ended up happening is that, as you were building your practice and it was you and that one other trusted, partner, you were able to come up with systems and strategies. But really, when it was just the two of you, you could handle it. Any question that came through, you could get it. But then some inconsistencies started to happen. This is my admin day, but I'll see that patient. This is, I've got to leave at 3:00, but he needs a 3:15. I'll let him in.
Exactly. So we're coming in early, we're staying late. There's exceptions to every rule because they're kind of not really rules. It's more like, how is the owner feeling that day? And that's not a great way to run a practice, but it works.
It works
when things are small.
Yep.
It doesn't work when things are big. It does not work when there's a lot of staff and you don't want every single person asking you for an exception to a rule.
Mhm.
But when people are used to you providing exceptions to rules, then they're going to ask because they want to do what's supposed to be done. And this is how things are done in your practice. And that's why you're involved in every step. And so we were talking to doctors about how, they need to be on the therapy floor actually adjusting what's happening in therapy because their staff isn't trained well enough. So then that means that now staff should be asking you every question because they're not trained well enough. But is there a system to train them? Or are you the system? And so what we saw was with the doctors being the system for everything, that's why everything's kind of breaking down. That's why your practice feels so heavy. That's why things aren't moving in the direction that you want them to. That's why this dream that you built became a job. And what was that quote from the E-Myth Revisited? If you work for yourself, then you're working for a lunatic, or something like that.
When you work for yourself, or like your dream becomes your job, and it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic.
Exactly. And so day 2 kind of solidified that, kind of locked it in.
Made that exceptionally clear.
Exactly. So then day 3, we went into, okay, so we know the doctor's the bottleneck and they're feeling overworked. We're knowing from day 2 that the doctor being the bottleneck and being the system that everything relies on is why the practice feels so heavy. That's why you think your team is incompetent. That's why you feel like you need to be involved in every step of everything. So in day 3, we went to, what do your patients feel?
Because you may think you're hiding it well. But the truth is you're not. Because
fire, there's no fire.
There's a fire.
There's no fire.
What do you say? You smell something. I don't smell anything. Gosh, that smoke, don't worry about it. Anywho, so the point is that when there are these inconsistencies, when the staff doesn't know how to make appropriate decisions, when you are having to make changes to your rules over and over and over again, the patients are getting that experience as well. And when the patients don't have a consistent, reliable experience, they don't become raving fans of your service. They might be satisfied customers if they can ignore it well enough. And if your clinical outcomes are good, because your clinical outcomes are pretty good.
Exactly. We're working with the best clinicians that exist. So I'm assuming that your clinical outcomes are pretty good.
There's a reason you're here.
Exactly. But if your patients end up leaving saying, oh, this therapy is really, really great, you should find somebody to have that therapy with.
That's a very different experience than 4D Vision Gym changed my child's life. Go to 4D. I don't care if they're not in your insurance network. I don't care if they're an hour and a half away. You need to go to 4D.
Exactly. So we want our patients, obviously, to be raving fans. We want them to talk about it everywhere. We don't want them to quietly, oh yeah, that made a difference for my child. That made a difference for me. We want them to say, like, oh my goodness, I had a concussion and I couldn't drive. I couldn't work. What was it? I couldn't watch my husband chew from across the table from me because it made me nauseous and motion sick. And now I went to 4D, transformed my entire life, and everybody who's ever had a concussion should go there no matter what. Those are the raving fans experiences that we want, and that's what we want for everybody who is in the challenge. And this really kind of helped our doctors see, like, maybe the reason that you don't know your dropout rate, and maybe the reason that, you don't understand why you're seeing so many patients is because you haven't created raving fans. You've created satisfied patients. Satisfied patients drop out early. Mm-hmm. Satisfied patients aren't committed to the full course of treatment. They're like, oh yeah, I was doing that and then I felt better.
So then, stopped.
Exactly. Then I stopped, and maybe I'll go. I don't know if I'm gonna go back.
I mean, but it was kind of expensive.
Where did I go again?
I don't know.
I think
there's that place in
somewhere. There's a place I went for a little bit and it was fine. Yeah, but you should definitely go do that therapy somewhere. You should do that therapy somewhere. Exactly. And so then when our doctors are looking at their dropout rates, they can actually see, like, oh wait, maybe I don't have these raving fans, and what can I do about it? Mm-hmm. And then we go into day 4, and day 4 was all about creating systems. Ta-da! Because what we need to do is we need to make sure that the doctor is working in their zone of genius. because right now doctors are working in their zone of incompetence, competence, excellence,
A lot.
not their zone of genius. So you wouldn't go into what those are.
So the zone of incompetence is the stuff that you should not be doing.
No, shouldn't do it.
I should not cook. And the zone of competence is the stuff that you could do. You do okay with it, but it may not be the best use of your time. There are
like me cooking. I can cook, but you know what? Somebody else could probably get that done a little bit faster while I'm doing something that's like actually like what I'm really,
helpful.
really good at. Exactly.
Yeah. The zone of excellence
yes,
is the stuff that you are really good at, the stuff that you can do really well. Maybe it's the really productive busy work.
Very productive busy work. Report writing. A lot of our doctors are still writing their reports because it seems like, this is really important work. It is really important work.
It is.
It's keeping you busy. There's a stack of things on your desk. However, there's probably somebody else who can at least get that started. Like
you can give it a proofread if you really, really want to still have a finger in it.
Exactly. But, we have this stack of things on our desk. But most of the time when there's a stack of things on your desk, you're not the only person who can deal with the stack. And if you created this vision for your dream, this vision for your practice, then where you should be is leading the practice. And you're the only person who can lead the practice to the destination that you want it to go in. You're not the only person who can write a report.
Dr. Collier is really good at seeing where 4D is going and what is next and what's going to take us to that next level. She's the visionary. She needs to spend more time in that area because when she actually develops and devotes the time to her zone of genius, 4D goes places. We reach more practices, we reach more patients, things happen in all of those areas. When she is writing reports. That is
one, they don't get done. That's number one.
And it just doesn't bring us to that next level. We're stuck repeating the same patterns and having the same issues, and patients are waiting, and it's not a good use of her time.
And so in day 4, we figured out, okay, doctors, practice owners, clinicians, you need to really be focusing in that zone of genius. And then day 5 kind of answers,
how?
Exactly. Because if you didn't notice, I'm seeing patients because I need to make payroll. So not sure what you're talking about. That sounds great. Maybe next year I'll do that. And by next year,
great.
I mean, maybe the year after.
I mean, after 2026 is already over. It's
exactly.
only it's 16 days into January. We're done.
We blocked that in. Blocked that in. So, it just seems like this pie in the sky dream because that can't exist on the systems that you have right now. That can't exist by having you work more. It can't exist by having you add staff. It can't exist by just seeing more patients and seeing more patients and seeing more patients. It has to exist from you being able to systemize some of the things that you're doing. Systemize everything that's not in your zone of genius. Record everything you repeat. Record everything you repeat.
We're recording.
Everything you repeat.
And she's repeating.
That's what we need to do so that way what you do and what you do best is delivered consistently across the board. There was a point in time when our patients would only come in and see Jess. We love Jess. Everybody loves Jess. That's great. But why did they choose to do that? Because there wasn't consistency across the board with our therapists. Jess seemed to be the one who knew the things. She seemed to be the one who knew the answers. She seemed to be the one that knew how to connect with a patient. And patients, if Jess was out sick, oh, we're not going to come in. We're going to just cancel. We'll wait until Jess comes back. Oh, Jess is on vacation for 2 weeks. Okay, then we'll come back when she comes back. Let us know. Let us know when that happens. That's not good.
That's not good. And if you happen to have a Jess in your office,
which I'm sure you do.
You do. The patients are piling up on her schedule. She gonna get tired.
Very tired.
And she may find a job where she isn't as necessary.
Exactly. It's too much pressure. It's
a lot.
Burning out is not fun. It's not fun for anybody. And so we need to make sure that Our therapists are consistent. How do we have consistently trained therapists? By having a system. So we developed a digital training program for our therapists. So all of our therapists are now the same. Everybody knows the same things. Everybody is delivering the 4D method. They're not delivering what Jess does. They're not delivering what they do. They're not delivering anything different than what 4D produces. And so our patients know every time they walk in the door, they're getting 4D. So then when they leave, after they graduate from vision therapy and they're telling their patient, their friends, where to go, they're telling them to go to 4D. It doesn't matter what therapist they're seeing because they're going to get the results that are consistent with how we deliver them.
When you go to Starbucks and you have a different barista, you still get the same macchiato.
There you go.
And it's a good macchiato. I like your macchiato.
So in day 5, we really talked about developing these systems, developing these programs, and really that we have a lot of habits that we've held on to since we started our practices. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of things that we're essential for since we started our practices. And day 5, we had to really think about how to let go of some of those things. So there are some things that we need to let go of. There are some habits that we need to let go of. There are some patterns that we need to let go of, some things that we think that we are essential for, maybe we're not so essential for. And really, it's all of the things that are not in your zone of genius. We need to figure out how to restructure them. And a lot of times, people want to fix their practice. They want to fix things, like I said, by working more or hiring more team members and things like that. However, that's not actually fixing the problem. It's like kind of just like plugging a leak. When I think that we might need a whole new water heater. Like we need to change the system that we are sitting on in our practice. And really, day 5 shows you that digital is the only option. It's the only next option for you to be able to deliver your consistency of care, for you to explain to each patient what their diagnosis means, for you to have the perfect therapist explanation for how to do an exercise, how to do it the right way, how it's going to impact their lives, how to make it easier, how to make it harder, and have that delivered the same way every single time. The only way to have that happen is for it to be recorded. So with digital, you actually are able to expand your reach. You're able to expand access to what you do. You're able to make so much more of an impact in this world. And that's what we started our practices for. That's why we're here. That's why we showed up. That's why people showed up for the Refocus and Reset Challenge. And they went off and were able to make those changes
and actually do it.
Exactly.
I think that was the coolest thing about this challenge, which is why you guys need to join us the next time we do it.
And I think there has to be a next time.
There's going to be a next time.
There's going to be a next time.
But the next time, what was really cool is like, it's more than just lip service, right? We can talk about this all day long, but the actual challenge, we were doing like working sessions. All right, here's 5 minutes on the clock. We're going to put on some good music and you're going to get to work in your workbook and actually look at each of these things and actually decide what you're going to do about it. Not just talk about making changes, but actually make a plan to make the changes.
Exactly, because it wasn't theoretical. It wasn't just like reading a book. It was actually doing the work, because as a practice owner, I'm sure that you have your schedule for the 8th day of the week already booked up.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the 9th day, depending.
I think I'm into October by now.
And so I think that, if you add it to something that's on your to-do list, then it's just another thing, another 60 plus hours of work that you now have. But people took 5 hours out of their week and were able to make impactful changes in their practices. And that's what we wanted. That's what they came for. That's what we were here for. That's why everyone showed up. And next time, we hope you show up too. So stay tuned. We'll let you know when it's happening. And if this resonated with you, subscribe.